Have you ever stood in a room and felt an invisible presence so heavy that it completely silenced the noise around you without a single word being spoken? This is the weight of mental authority, a mind so deeply anchored in its own reality that it doesn't just navigate chaos, it dictates it. Most people walk through life as puppets of their environment, reacting to every minor setback, chasing external validation, and allowing every passing storm to dictate their internal weather. They are walking around with downloaded thoughts, rented opinions, and secondhand convictions, completely unaware that they are living in a mental prison of their own design. But there is a different breed of human being. There are individuals who have forged a mind so unyielding, so quiet in the face of pressure, that it actually terrifies the average observer. To build a mind that scares people, you must first understand the tattered fabric of collective mediocrity. Average minds thrive on safety and comfort, treating any minor inconvenience as a personal assault and running to hide behind the shield of excuses. They assume that mental strength is an innate trait, something you are either born with or you aren't. But neuroscience and modern psychology paint a far more radical picture. In 2012, researchers conducted MRI scans on active-duty military soldiers before and after they were exposed to live combat. What they found was mind-blowing. Despite enduring some of the most gruesome, high-stress events imaginable, the soldiers who remained resilient didn't break. Their brains actually adapted. The connective tissue to their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain that overrides fear and controls rational decision-making, grew larger and stronger. Their minds went to the gym and came back bench pressing 300 pounds. This is the concept of antifragility. While fragile systems shatter under volatility, and robust systems merely resist it, anti-fragile systems actively grow stronger when exposed to stress and disorder. Your mind is designed to be an anti-fragile machine. Yet, most people treat their minds like fragile glass, shielding themselves from every possible discomfort under the guise of protecting their peace. They cancel meetings because they are not in the right headspace, avoid difficult conversations because now isn't the time, and quit at the first sign of friction. They believe they are practicing self-care, but they are actually running a training session that teaches their brain a devastating lesson. Hard things are things I run away from. When you constantly avoid controllable difficulties, you starve your brain of the very reps it needs to grow. In 1967, psychologists Martin Seligman and Stephen Meyer discovered what they called learned helplessness, the phenomenon where animals exposed to inescapable pain eventually give up and refuse to escape even when the exit is wide open. For 50 years, this was the accepted explanation for human collapse. But in 2016, they realized they had it completely backward. Giving up and shutting down is not learned. It is the brain's automatic factory setting. When we take prolonged pain, we cannot escape. A structure deep in the brain stem floods our system with serotonin, actively suppressing our urge to fight back. The thing that actually has to be learned is control. Your ventromedial prefrontal cortex is constantly scanning your life to see if your actions have any real-world influence. When it detects that you can change your outcome, it reaches down and flips the shutdown switch off. If you spend your days absorbing stress, you cannot influence, like the global news, the algorithms, and the opinions of strangers. While deleting every uncomfortable task you can control, your detector never gets trained. You are not weak. You simply have no training data. To reverse this, you must analyze your mental toughness through a precise operational framework. True psychological resilience is not a vague, chest-beating alpha masculinity trope. It is a measurable system of 4 distinct coordinates: tolerance, fortitude, resilience, and adaptability. Your tolerance is your fuse. It measures how much hardship or how many setbacks you can endure before your behavior changes and you deviate from your goals. The mentally weak have a short fuse. A minor traffic jam or slow Wi-Fi sends them into a spiral. The unbreakable mind has a long fuse, maintaining intended behavior normally despite the chaos. The second metric is fortitude, the intensity of your drop once your tolerance threshold is surpassed. When you finally snap, how low do you go? Do you take a deep breath, step outside, and return to execute? Or do you quit your job, ruin your relationships, and burn your life to the ground? The third metric is resilience, which is strictly a measure of time. Once you hit rock bottom, how long does it take you to return to baseline? Does it take you 5 minutes or 5 years to stop acting out? Finally, there is adaptability. How your new baseline compares to your old baseline after the storm has passed. The weak let the hard times beat the strength out of them, stabilizing at a lower, permanently traumatized state. The strong let the difficulty beat the strength into them, utilizing the pain to stabilize at a higher baseline of functioning. They do not ask, "Why is this happening to me?" They ask, "How can I let this bad thing serve me?" If you want to max out these 4 stats, you must implement the tools of elite performers and ancient philosophers. You must master negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum. Instead of relying on cheap, positive affirmations, mentally rehearse the worst-case scenarios before they happen. Visualize the investor rejecting your deal, the parent yelling at you, or your body wanting to quit. When you pre-think the evil, it loses the power of surprise, allowing you to meet the crisis with strategy instead of panic. Pair this with the Stoic archer paradigm. A master archer does everything in her power to shoot a perfect arrow, but once the arrow leaves the bow, she yields to the wind. Her true goal is not hitting the target, which is outside her control, but rather firing the arrow as skillfully as possible. When you detach your happiness from rigid outcomes and focus entirely on the quality of your execution, you become untouchable. On a daily basis, you must stack small wins to build self-efficacy. David Goggins famously speaks of the accountability mirror, standing in front of yourself daily and demanding absolute honesty without ego. If you want to build a mind that scares people, you must do something that sucks every single day. Take the freezing cold shower. Speak up when it is terrifying. Suffer in silence without complaining, because every second spent whining is a second stolen from your progress. When you consistently choose discipline over comfort, you build a deep reservoir of trust in your own capability. You stop relying on the lie of motivation, which fluctuates with the wind, and establish systems that run on autopilot. But you must go into this transformation with your eyes wide open, because nobody warns you about what it actually costs when you become unbreakable. When you stop reacting emotionally, the people around you will not celebrate you. They will call you cold. Your family, who used to control you by raising their voices or going silent, will realize that the handles they always used to manipulate you are no longer attached to anything. People do not say thank you when they lose leverage over you. They say you've changed. And the quietest, most painful cost? People will stop checking on you. Because you are so good at the reset. Because you are the rock that never crumbles. They will assume you are always fine, leaving you to carry the heaviest weights completely alone. That is the price of a mind that scares people. But on the other side of that, isolation lies absolute, radical freedom. You no longer run from the floor because you have been there enough times to know exactly where the switch is to flip the power back on. If you are ready to stop living a provisional, spectator life and start writing your own unyielding story, hit the subscribe button and join our community as we continue to decode the hidden machinery of the human mind. Leave a comment below telling us, which of the 3 traps has been running your life? Protecting your peace, the fairness contract, or fusing the hit to who you are? Stop waiting for a savior, take ownership of your panel, and go build a mind that nothing on this earth can break.